Activist challenges MP over free speech in Parliament. What really happened? In a highly talked-about moment at the UK Parliament this week, a well-known political activist confronted a Member of Parliament, MP, over what he called the erosion of free speech in the UK. The unexpected exchange, which occurred just outside one of Westminster's committee sessions, has since sparked intense debate online, particularly after the full footage was not aired on mainstream television networks. While much of the public has had to rely on short clips and second-hand commentary, we've taken the time to break down what actually happened factually, clearly, and without the noise. The incident began as a spontaneous meeting between the activist and the MP as the latter exited a parliamentary session. The activist, who has long been involved in high-profile free speech campaigns, approached the MP in what seemed to be a civil yet firm attempt to question government policy on online expression and censorship. According to those who witnessed the exchange, the activist raised concerns about the growing role of social media regulations and the recent push for new online safety laws. These laws, aimed at combating hate speech, misinformation, and online harassment, have also drawn criticism for potentially limiting lawful expression. Do you think it's right that ordinary citizens can be silenced online without due process? The activist asked, holding up a smartphone recording the conversation. The MP, whose identity we are keeping anonymous to maintain neutrality, responded calmly. Free speech is essential, they said, but we must also balance it with public safety. There are cases where harmful content can cause real-world consequences. Contrary to some social media claims, the exchange did not devolve into shouting or threats. Both individuals remained composed, though passionate. The activist pressed further, citing examples of individuals suspended or banned from digital platforms for sharing political opinions that, while controversial, were not illegal. The MP acknowledged the complexity of the issue. We are walking a very fine line, they said. Our goal is not to silence dissent, but to ensure online spaces are safe for everyone. Interestingly, while much of this conversation was captured on video by bystanders, mainstream news outlets chose not to broadcast the full footage. Some sources reported this was due to editorial time constraints, while others cited broadcasting policies regarding unauthorized recordings inside or near government property. Regardless of the reasoning, the lack of coverage added to the perception, at least among some viewers, that uncomfortable conversations are being pushed out of public view. Online responses to the event were swift and varied. Supporters of the activist hailed the encounter as a necessary check on political authority, arguing that too often citizens feel ignored or marginalized when raising concerns about freedom of speech. Whether you agree with him or not, he asked questions many people are afraid to ask, one commenter wrote under a widely shared video snippet. Others, however, defended the MP's position. Regulating speech online isn't about silencing people, one viewer noted. It's about protecting vulnerable communities and preventing real-world harm. Several users also reminded audiences that platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are private companies and have the right to enforce their own terms of service. Academic voices entered the conversation too. Dr. Helen Cummings, a digital rights researcher at London School of Economics, stated in a radio interview, "This incident reflects the ongoing tension between civil liberties and collective responsibility. It's not about choosing one or the other, but about negotiating how they coexist in the digital age." This moment at Parliament may have been brief, but its ripple effects are wide. Across the globe, countries are wrestling with similar debates, from the United States' First Amendment challenges to the EU's strict content moderation directives. What makes this UK exchange especially significant is the timing. With elections on the horizon and ongoing discussions around online safety laws, how politicians handle public engagement on these issues will shape the political climate in the months ahead. It's a reminder that moments like these aren't just confrontations, they're conversations in the making. In a democratic society, confrontation isn't always conflict. Sometimes, it's a form of participation. When activists and MPs meet face-to-face, especially in peaceful, reasoned ways, it brings essential debates out of the abstract and into the real world. Whether you believe current speech regulations go too far or not far enough, the important thing is that we keep talking about it. We keep questioning. And most importantly, we listen even when we disagree. What do you think about this? Is the UK striking the right balance between free speech and online safety, or are we seeing the early signs of overreach? Let us know in the comments, respectfully, of course. If you value clear, thoughtful coverage that digs into both sides of the issue, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. Let's keep the conversation going.